Called the Zinger Sandwich. Crunchy, juicy, 100% chicken breast, crisp lettuce, sweet mayo on a seeded bun with a little zing. KFC's chicken is not factory breaded, frozen and refried like the Burger Boys. Customize your KFC Zinger and dip it in barbecue sauce.
Wow, now I'm starting to notice you too.
KFC, it's finger licking good.
Did you know that the Department of Environmental Health operates a recycling program in the Cayman Islands? Recyclables such as number 1 and 2 plastics, tin and aluminum cans, cardboard, as well as glass and ceramic items are recycled on Grand Cayman by the DEH. Take these items to the recycling depots located at all Foster supermarkets, Kirk Market, and Hurley's Grand Harbor. Remember, keep the Cayman Islands clean. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. For more information about recycling, please visit DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
Thousands of Caymanians work in our cruise tourism industry. It is a myth that Cayman does not need cruise tourism. It is a fact that 4,500 Caymanians work in this industry today as taxi and tour operators, boat captains and crew, restaurateurs, retailers, water sports operators, and ambassadors at our attractions. If our cruise tourism industry is half of what it is today, what are we going to do with our people, the thousands of unemployed Caymanians? Support the peers, support our tourism.
Mark your calendars. Radio Cayman's Breeze Fusion Walk Run is coming. Sister Islanders, save the date. Saturday, November 24th. Breeze FM and Radio Cayman will be returning to the BRAC for the 3rd annual BRAC Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run at the public beach on South Side. This year's 5K event will be raising funds for the So and So Club. Registration is only $15 for adults and $10 for kids. For more information, visit caymanactive.com.
Did you know that recycling collection containers are located island-wide on Grand Cayman? The Department of Environmental Health's program is an integral part of DEH's waste management responsibility in the Cayman Islands. Start your recycling program at home today. Put your type 1 and 2 plastics in appropriate DEH recycling containers at all Foster supermarkets, Kirk Market, or Hurley's Grand Harbor. Please keep the Cayman Islands clean. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. For more information about recycling, go to www.deh.gov.ky.
Tune in every Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio, featuring Will Sinatra. Enjoy a mix of pop, hip-hop, reggae, and calypso, and an entertainment trivia section. The Super Jam Show is fueled by the proud sponsorship of Merengue Town. It's time to feel the rhythm, time to feel the vibes. It's time for Merengue Town.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8837 or 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Share your thoughts. Perhaps there's something that you're considering that, hey, just wondering. Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today. Hello, good afternoon. All right, 1-800-534-8255. It's open line. Let's go to our phones. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today. Hey, hello. Good afternoon. All right. It's a toll-free call with the compliments of Flo, if you so choose and wish to use, as we get our phones up and running. 949-8837 or 1-800-534-8255. If you want, you can also send us a WhatsApp, 925-3261, and we can chat. Just a quick comment from someone who was sharing about the idea that they gave us in respect to having the recorded message played, not only to say it's consistent, but could provide another avenue for some talent development. Let's try your phones. Good afternoon, welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Hey, how have you been, man?
All right.
Been a while, huh?
Busy working, and Dwayne, I want to ask you before I say anything, a question, please. Radio Cayman is just before in the break was running an ad about the board and its future and all of that. Can you tell me exactly who paying for that ad?
Honestly, I can't tell you exactly because I don't know.
Is it a private entity or the government of the Cayman Islands?
I honestly don't know. I've heard that it's part public funds and part private funds, but I really don't know.
Part public fund and part private fund.
But I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't ask. I didn't inquire. I can tell you what I did hear, though. A few people question, why is it seemingly that the government, meaning the elected arm of government, seemingly, on a campaign to convince the electorate, the voters, the public, that this thing is good. This is an election issue in a sense. But hey, what do we know, right?
Yeah, you see, Dwayne, my position in the port, and I don't call the radio, I don't speak, but my position is this. Hello?
Yeah, your position. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my position is this. I see that, unfortunately, the news, on information I get, that so much money being spent for the campaign let me start, the people who against the port. I send in people paying a lot of money for ads, for campaign against the port, and by employing a lot of people to get signatures, spending a lot of money, and I hear the number is almost $300,000 until now being spent in this campaign. And I hear that some people get money to support this campaign against the port. And to be fair here, in the other side, which is they want the port to be built, which is part of the government, the government and some private entities. And we know who is this private entities, some business people in this country. And also those people are spending a lot of money, and I hear the number is bad, already $250,000. So both sides spend over $500,000 already in the campaign to fight over the port.
When you say both sides, sorry, you mean the ones that are for the port and the ones that are
against the port? Yes.
Okay.
And this campaign and all this money being spent, I think today we get a new governor. And this new governor, first we welcome him, and we hope his stay will be enjoyable here, and we hope there is a hope in his hand that he put in a private entity to investigate all of these issues happening about the port. And this is considered using the public fund by the government to launch a campaign in the media is a clear corruption.
How so?
Because the public fund shouldn't be using in join with the private entity who is supporting a project for the government. Why the private entity will pay for an ad in the radio, and then half of the money from government, for example, or 60% from the government and 40% from the private entity? That's still your suspicion. And also on the other side, there's a suspicion. Why you paying people to come to the radio and sit down and put in the throat of every Caymanian in this country ideas, and you trying to convince them, and you go in every radio station, so much time you get in your hands to go in every radio station, you must get paid for doing so, or it is involved in money. Then this issue is not about the Caymanian people. The two sides fighting, they are not considering what is good for the Caymanian people. I support, of course, the referendum. The referendum will decide if the Caymanian people really want the port or they don't want it. And then today I listened to Johan Maxim and he said, let us get a survey from the cruise ship companies. They do a survey through their passengers, what really, if they have a good experience in the situation we have now, tendering on, or if they are seeing it a bad experience or a good experience. Let us see what. So I think this country, the government of this the governor of this country, need to put a private entity, separate entity, responsible about this issue of the port project after the decision of the majority of the voters in Cayman, the majority of the people of this country. And I have some questions to the government. Number one, if you really want this port project to solve the unemployment problem, you already have 4 years before to solve it, and you never solve it. And now you have almost 2 years finished already from this term, and you don't solve the unemployment problem. You don't solve the issues and the problem of the dump. There is present issues in this country more important than making some family more rich. They're already rich. Why are they greedy? They want more money by building this port and damaging the environment of this country in that certain location. Why it is not built in other location? Those questions need to be answered. And this country need to focus in the poor people, because the other day I was going by Foster Airport at night at 10 o'clock, and I see some people sleeping there. So I asked them, 2-3 people sleeping in the benches of Foster Airport next to the road. So I asked them, didn't you have home to sleep in? They said no, they are homeless. One of them already 6 years homeless, and the woman carrying her clothes and bag and sitting in a chair and sleeping, and she almost dropped in the ground. Those people more important than causing the children and the people of this country, Dwayne, to be in debt for generations. And the focus of the government is not in the people. I don't see this government or the one before was the focus in the poor people of this country. Look at the board they just built in South Sound. That board, I show 6 people who is involved in the construction business. And I ask them, if I give you that board work as a contract, how much really it costs? The most one says 200 and something thousand. That is the most it will cost. But the government pay for that boardwalk is $1.2 million, and it's already damaged by a car accident or whatever happened. And if a big wave come, that boardwalk will be in the other side of the road. The boardwalk is not necessary for the people of this country. There is more important issues for them. The gas prices, the food prices, the homeless.
Certainly the cost of living. Yeah. Any final thoughts as you wrap it up?
Yeah, just final thoughts. I want to tell the people of this country that this fight is not all about you. It's not about you at all. It is fight between two rich families. They want the benefit from that board for themselves. The greedy business people in this country are forgetting about the poor people, and it is not your fight to get involved in the middle of that. Your fight is to vote in the referendum what really you want, and then this country will decide what is really, if this board have to be built in town or not.
Right.
And where is in all of this the environment department? Why the government are making them out of the picture? That is another crime this government commits.
Right.
And I think my advice to Mr. Moses Corconol to put himself away from this board issue, because it is becoming the smell is very bad. The smell is very bad, and the smell of the corruption in this board issue is stinking the whole country. And I think people need to understand in this country that it is needed the governor of this country to put his hand in the matter. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's go to the phones, pick up the other callers. Welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you today?
I don't know if you have a guest there, but if they're good afternoon to them.
Well, it's just me, but good afternoon to you.
Well, I got two things I want to mention about. First of all, I want to make an announcement where the West Bay Committee is inviting all the people of the Cayman Islands to come down to West Bay on Saturday, the 27th of October, between 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're having a grand opening Argo Fest for the market at West Bay. And I don't know if you heard this morning, but we're actually serving a lot of local dish. We have corn turtle, stew turtle, Cayman style beef, lobster, conch, and milk. We're sure there'll be lots of cassava cake and lots of things. We're inviting everyone to come down because, like I told you this morning, not because I'm a West Bay and I'm proud to be, but I think West Bay cooks the best corn turtle. That's where the seamen team, most of the seamen team from there, they went to the Skiddy Keys. So we'll be proud to say that we are the best. Maybe one of these days we need to put on a food fest that we're going to challenge all the districts to challenge West Bay on food. So we invite you guys to come down and share with us. There'll be lots of activities for the kids and everything. So come on down and enjoy it. That's number one. Number two, I'm sick of calling on it, but I'll call till somebody does something about it. I'm calling on the government, whoever is responsible for it. We need some help down at the 7 Mile Beach Public Beach with the vendors that we have down there, taxi drivers, and the operators that are selling umbrellas, chairs, and any other facilities down there, because they're turning the Cayman Islands into just like the other rest of third world countries. And I am, as a Caymanian, I guess I speak for a lot of them. Rest of Caymanians, I'm sure there's a lot of other nationalities that see it and are not pleased with it. We call on the government to please do something, but they're swarming our buses. I do water sports, and when we pull into the park lot, they rush to the buses like a load of cattle coming towards the buses, and they're touching the tourists. We do not appreciate them, and we've been calling on DCI to do something about it, and they're telling me that's not their department, this one, next one. So I'm going to make it publicly now. It's a call on whoever the government that is responsible for regulating those people. Please do something about it before we destroy our tourism product. We do not want to become like the other rest of third world countries, but that's what they're making us. So please, we're calling on the government, the premier or whoever it is that's responsible, please look into it before our product is destroyed. When we destroy our tourism, we have nothing else to offer. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And let's go to the other line. Oh, sorry. My apologies. Let's take our break. Caller, respectfully, please stay on the line. We'll join you right after.
Okay, settle down. There's someone I want to thank. This guy knows how to get the most out of every fill-up. This guy had the common sense to drive into Esso so I could get back on the road. $5,000 richer. Thanks to me. Thank you so much, me. Thank you. Yes.
Spend $25 at any Esso service station and get a chance to win in weekly draws for $5,000 cash. Every week for 5 weeks, we'll be choosing a winner. You can also get a chance to win free fuel and prizes at our weekly Spin and Win events. That's $30,000 in cash and prizes to be won. Drive into an Esso station today. You'll thank yourself. The Esso brand is a trademark of Exxon Mobil Corporation and is used under license.
Babe, not tonight. I need to be rested for all-day meetings tomorrow.
What are you talking about? I was almost asleep.
You keep poking me, and I can't sleep.
That's the mattress spring I keep telling you about. Not me. We really need to get a new mattress.
Tossing and turning, back hurting, can't sleep? It might be time to turn in your old mattress and go to bed with a new one. Browse the huge mattress showroom at Brand Source Home Gallery and pick the perfect mattress today. With mattresses to suit every budget, Brand Source Home Gallery stocks a wide selection of sizes and styles like Pillow Top and gel memory foam. So stop tossing and turning and sleep better tonight with a new mattress from Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
CUC advises motorists that in an effort to alert approaching drivers of speed restrictions when entering an area of road where CUC vehicles and personnel are present, the company will be deploying rumble strips. These rumble strips are a series of raised transverse rubber strips laid across the road which changes the noise a vehicle's tires make on the surface and so warning drivers of speed restrictions. On approaching CUC's work zones, motorists will observe bright orange road signs signifying rumble strips ahead. Before entering these work zones, motorists will encounter the rumble strips that are encouraged to drive with extreme caution at slow speeds until they are well clear of the work zones. These rumble strips are essential to safeguarding against potential danger to CUC personnel. If you have any questions regarding the use of rumble strips, please contact our customer service team at 949-5200 or via email at service@cuc.ky.
Top a nice boy.
This Wednesday, the season finale for Brianna Bodden is Season of Service. You don't want to miss it.
Party's coming and I can't wait.
Great food, fun times, and new music.
Plus, we on midterm break, so we can sleep in late after all that fun.
Sleep in late? What happened? You need beauty rest, or?
Speaking of beauty, YCLA finalist Casey Mobley will be on Youth Flex this week.
It sounds like it's going to be a beautiful show.
Along with Melanie Mockfield from Parrot Street office.
Our word of the week is dormitory. D-O-R-M-I-T-O-R-Y. It is a noun that means a large bedroom for a number of people in a school or institution.
In my bedroom, let's take a trip to the moon.
So join us this Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. right here on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM for the season finale of Season of Service. For Youth Flex, a program for all people by young people. Youth Flex, more than talk.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today. Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us. It is open line 949-8837 or 1-800-534-8255. We invite you to share your thoughts with us and be a part of a discussion. The last callers were raising the issue. Now, the question that someone quickly posted offline, simply this. The caller prior who was talking about the two different sides in the war and factions. The question was asked, well, is it then that he is assuming that all the other people who are concerned about democracy and asking for a referendum, that they themselves are looking at this from that simple, as I read it, a simple view, that they're not concerned about the costs or the environment? Hey, what is your thought when it comes to the port issue? Is it that you, as one fellow shared with me quickly, got kind of fed up with hearing about it? Another one said, well, don't even know enough about what is really being planned because the final design isn't there. So how do I know the cost? How do I know the impact? What is your thoughts? Hey, 949-8837, 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Now, a quick comment from someone who was sharing, as I just took the message earlier, about the taxing tour operators and the different businesses within the tourism sector. This person wanted to remind us how crucial that sector is to our country, not just to the bottom line for the businesses that invested, the government for the taxes and fees it collects, but equally the people who come here. Perhaps they'll return as workers, as residents. They'll share our perception. And if we have 2 million or so people every year, good chance that there's a high percentage of those who are first-time visitors. The question asked was, do we know how many of them are first-time visitors and how many of them, return? And again, when they return, how long in between? And have we been able to track what that experience has been like? Is it getting better when they return? Are they concerned about their safety and security when they're here? Do they share that their reluctance to return? Is it because of the cost? They don't feel that the quality is there? Is it that they're not being provided with a level of service? Now, she shared quickly that these are questions that perhaps most businesses, and if the country was to look at the tourism sector, collectively, that whether through the Tourism Association in conjunction with the government, that we start to be able to answer and address these issues to ensure that our visitors have, the best possible experience. Now, she says quickly as an example, when she travels, she chooses to stay in a particular, hotel, not just because of the points that she earns, but she opted for that one because she believes that, through its, interconnected systems, she has, share information with them. They take, sort of cognizance of that information and provide her with a semblance of a personalized service. Are we able to do something similarly for those who visit us, whether there's 2 million or more? But how many destinations across the globe, see more than that at their attractions? And yet, is it becoming impersonal? Are we able to identify what it is that would separate us from, our competitors and make us stand out in a very positive way? She said that the caller's comment about the activities at the public beach, so it needs to be addressed. If we're going to allow vending on our roads and our parks and our beaches, then it needs to be managed in a way that looks responsible, looks reputable, and is respectful. If we're not going to allow it, and those entrepreneurs, business people, or the like, must have an option and an opportunity to conduct their businesses in a place that allows them to be able to earn an honest living. Now, she also questioned quickly that when we look at the market, the craft market in town, is that being leveraged as best as it could be? What about the farmers markets and the like? What are we doing to make sure that it's not just a knee-jerk response or something to pacify a small subset of our population? Are we presenting these things in such a way that people see them and are drawn to them because they're respected, operators in it? They are there and they're profitable. Hey, share your thoughts with us, 949-8037, or toll free with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. Likewise, if you so choose, you can send us our WhatsApp, 925-3261. Either way, you share your thoughts with us. And if you choose and you want to send us our thought on our email, we still have that. Talk today at candw.ky. Appreciate you, those who share that sort of thought process, and sometimes send through an epistle or two. But hey, it's all about sharing information and including and involving as many of us as possible. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Now, when we return from our news at Headlines at 1, there are some sentiments in relation to education that a few of you have been sharing, and it's not only to do with the inspection process and the need to maybe reconsider whether that's the way we assess our schools, our teachers, and our students, but are we looking at education from the perspective of developing, future citizens who today are being impacted positively and later on can contribute even more so? Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman. Headline. Radio Cayman's newsroom. Headline. These are the biggest stories right now.
It's on to the next step for the Green Iguana culling program, with more than 300 registered individuals and companies signing up during the one-week registration. The cull starts on October 29th. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. The number of U.S. drug overdose deaths has begun to level off after years of relentless increases driven by the opioid epidemic. That's according to U.S. Health Secretary Alex Azar. He says there is still a long way to go. A bomb was found in a mailbox at the suburban New York compound of George Soros, the liberal billionaire philanthropist who has been the target of right-wing conspiracy theorists, authorities said today. The federal investigators were reviewing surveillance video to determine whether the package has been sent through the mail or delivered some other way. And Mexico has issued an alert for parts of its Pacific seaboard as it prepares for the life-threatening Hurricane Willa. Willa is expected to make landfall on Mexico's west-central coast later today and is potentially catastrophic. Currently a Category 3 out of 5 storm, it threatens to bring torrential rains and major flooding. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman. Every Saturday morning at 9.
Bob, you got cutting round this plane? Sit my box down there with my parrot and rabbits.
Right here on Radio Cayman.
In Cayman, we are surrounded by water and make our living by farming the sea.
Come join us as we proudly present Caymanian stories.
The whole problem started when Kanka promised Mrs. June that she would babysit her daughter, Lil Kelly, one Saturday afternoon.
Caymanian Stories is proudly sponsored by Cayman National Bank, serving the Cayman Islands since 1974. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all your financial needs.
Cayman's cruise industry must be preserved and developed. It is a myth that the cruise lines will continue to call on Cayman at the rate they do now without the piers. It is a fact that the mega-class ships will not be tendered. Arrivals will decline by half over time as the older ships are decommissioned. This will hurt our economy and thousands of Caymanians who work in this industry. If we want to continue providing opportunities for Caymanians, we need the piers. Support the piers. Support our tourism.
Mark your calendars. Radio Cayman's Breeze Fusion Walk Run is coming. Sister Islanders, save the date. Saturday, November 24th. Breeze FM and Radio Cayman will be returning to the BRAC for the 3rd annual BRAC Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run at the public beach on South Side. This year's 5K event will be raising funds for the So-and-So Club. Registration is only $15 for adults and $10 for kids. For more information, visit caymanactive.com.
Radio Cayman, your number one community station, would like to remind you that we are in the hurricane season, and in order to survive a hurricane, you need to be prepared. If officials' sources say a hurricane is imminent, please board up or shutter up windows in your home or place of business. Remember to use good lumber, as makeshift boarding may actually cause more damage. Also put strong bracing on outside doors so that they are not blown off or blown in.
This hurricane advice was brought to you by Radio Cayman, your caring community radio station.
Welcome to our Esso service station. How can I help you today, ma'am?
$25 in fuel, please.
Sure. I bet I can make you smile, too.
Bet you can't.
Would $5,000 cash make you smile?
Of course. Who wouldn't? But how?
Spend $25 or more in fuel at any of our Esso service stations, and you could be the winner of $5,000 cash. Every week for 5 weeks, one lucky winner will win $5,000 cash. Made you smile, didn't I?
I'm smiling.
Drive into an Esso station today. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
Brand Source Home Gallery has been appointed the exclusive Cayman supplier for Duravit bathroom products. Duravit is the leading international manufacturer of bathroom ceramics, tubs, and showers, recognized around the world for beautiful, functional products. Winner of top industry awards, Duravit collaborates with leading European designers to provide the most elegant and innovative bath products. If you're ready to bring style, comfort, and innovation to your bathroom, visit Brand Source Home Gallery to see the new Duravit showroom and meet the in-house bath designer. Whether you're planning a functional family bathroom or a personal spa retreat, browse the Duravit collection and be inspired. Brand Source Home Gallery, delivering a new standard in custom designed bathrooms. Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. The Cayman Islands Government e-Services have launched 2 new online services for the general public. Now you can save time by renewing your vehicle or driver's license and apply for a trade and business license online. Find out more about these new features and future online services at the e-Services Showcase at the Marriott on Thursday, October 25th from 9 to 11 a.m. Refreshments will be served. The Cayman Islands Government e-Services, more convenient than ever.
But I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us. It is open line 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Let's go to our phones. Welcome. You're on Talk Today. Okay, sometimes that happens. What to say, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Call and share your thoughts with us if you so choose. It's an opportunity to share with us. Now, just prior to the break, we were referencing sentiments that one of our callers had expressed to us in relation to education and this idea that when we're looking at our schools and this sort of process that many of the schools seem to fare, this inspection process, whether it's the public or the private schools. Now, she says she's only able to speak from the public school perspective, but having to experience that, she thought it wasn't just what people probably feel when they're being reviewed. Her concern is that how useful and beneficial these things are. Do they help to inform the teachers as to what they can do to improve the teaching and learning? Does it do anything to engage the students further? Is it this sort of situation that creates a greater divide, lets people feel more and more like they're under the microscope and not able to even improve? But she says also too, what if the process and once you go through it, you find a scenario where there is something really egregious, teacher, a student, something. What is the outcome? What is the consequence? And she believes that it doesn't really add any great value. Just another layer of bureaucracy, another layer that creates another divide and does little or nothing to inform the general notion of teaching and learning. Now, she shares that there is, without question, a greater need for more accountability in the schools amongst the teachers as well as amongst the students, and the requirement for parents to participate. But she said even that is an issue. She says, as an example, you have a case where a teacher will see a parent wanting to get involved, reaches out to the parent, and may not necessarily be embraced by the colleagues or the school, the administration and the like. Or it could be a case where the parent is overly enthusiastic and that nature wanting to get involved could, even if the teacher and parent enjoyed a good relationship, even the parent was a former educator or the like, sometimes that could be counterproductive. How do you find that balance? Now, she also shared that there are times that have been alleged where the school, or specifically a teacher, isn't that motivated to reach out to the parents, don't necessarily want to have that dialogue and engagement with the parents, because it's just one more layer and one more thing that the teacher is required to do in an already stressed and agenda and day. But nonetheless, who it is that we're focusing on. Now she says everybody, from the principal to the policy maker to the politician to everybody, or we're student-centric. We're talking about focusing on the child, developing the best possible citizen. But in many cases, a teacher who wants to deliver a lesson plan in a particular way, who may want to take students on an excursion to aid their learning, isn't always supported, especially if the teacher seems to be a bit unconventional. Now, she shared, as long as the safety of the students are paramount, as long as this thing, whatever they're doing, whether in the classroom, on the school ground, or outside, is done in a responsible, respectful manner, it shouldn't be an issue. But many times, those things aren't embraced. And oftentimes, even if they are there sufficient resources to make it happen? Now, she believes that's been the challenge. She also shared that, yes, anybody who gets more pay in the pocket usually feels better as a result. But paying teachers more don't necessarily mean that you get better teaching. It just means that perhaps you're rewarding some who already, shouldn't be in the system, without recognizing the contribution and sacrifice of those who are constantly, digging into their own pockets, going above and beyond what it is, required of them. But those teachers are the ones who took up the calling, because for them it wasn't and isn't just their job. Whereas the inspection process, in order to capture that, she doesn't believe that it's doing so, or if so, not adequately. And yet, like most things, the politics that come into play seem to indicate that if a teacher runs foul of another teacher who seems to have particular influence, and she shared, it doesn't have to be a teacher who is, sort of higher up on the organizational structure. It could just be a teacher who has enjoyed a particular friendship, relationship, or otherwise with another teacher who is influencing another, and she believes that is happening. But what she says isn't, being addressed in her schools is the open discrimination that's taking place amongst the colleagues, but amongst the students, and worse, amongst student and teacher. Some of the derogatory comments that we heard about in the past, she says, is even more present today in the public as well as in the private schools. The notion that their children are being marginalized, and in many cases are not being, developed in the best manner. Now, she shared that if it's one teacher or one student, that's one too many. But equally, she believes it's happening more and more. And sometimes the teachers who are, seemingly committed to their students aren't always openly embraced. Now, are these things that we're talking about privately, but are unable or unwilling to speak to publicly? Hey, what is your view? 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Likewise, you can share your thoughts with us on our WhatsApp, 925-3261. Now, as she shared about education, she said that it's been a political football for too long, and we're quick to blame the government and the politicians and the Ministry of Education and the Department of Education. Yes, probably much responsibility rests with them. But when, it comes to it, what are we willing to do? Now, she shared that there's so much that needs to happen, and where that accountability sort of comes into play, perhaps it's time that we extended more autonomy. Now, she recognizes that is something that is, as she understands it, being actively considered by the government. But it needs to be in such a way that the people who are going to be making the decisions, that there's a level of oversight. They just can't do what they want when they want and operate in a vacuum, as has been the case in many instances. But the teachers need to know that as long as they follow, the accepted sort of standards. And she believes part of the problem is that we don't necessarily have a standard. And the examples we're following are competing examples. We're not looking at best practices across the globe. We're adopting things and left, in many cases, for the teacher to employ what a teacher was either accustomed to from, the former teaching post, or perhaps was, sort of instructed during those formative years of getting the teacher certification. We don't necessarily have the very, very best approach to teaching and learning in our system. the lack of a national vision across all schools, public and private. The idea that we're not raising the standards of teaching and learning in schools, she believes it comes back down to a lack of appreciation for what education means and what it is. For some, it's a better job and a higher salary, but it's more than that. And she believes that many of her students that are excelling aren't being championed. And worse, she says, there may be an attempt to push us in a certain direction. And again, that level of prejudice, racism, discrimination, and other things are unfolding in our schools. We're ignoring it. We can believe in that it's going to go away. Now, she made some other sentiments that perhaps may not be appropriate to share now, but what is your view? 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Another comment from someone earlier who wanted to share some information in relation to the environment and the port and the like, and suggested as governments consider putting in place statutory authorities, why haven't they done likewise for the Department of Environment? Now, the chances are the environmental health, the dump will be privatized and that'll be a separate entity. But should we equally, and more importantly, create some agency, some statutory authority as independent as possible when it comes to the environment? Now, she believes many times as a civil servant, you may be very, very cautious in your actions so that it doesn't appear to be anything other than politically neutral. But when the issue of an environmental impact assessment or some environmental concern is being questioned, how can you remain objective if your view is such that, for instance, she gave us an example, whether it's the landfill or the port, whether it's a dredging application or some development, the technicians, the experts at the Department of Environment, for instance, suggests, this course of action would be the best course of action relative to the environment. The concern is to protect and preserve the environment. This would be what you do, or this would be what you don't. And in that instance, can those people who are civil servants, who are answerable to the civil service and expected to carry the mandate of the political directorate, can they honestly and objectively do so without any sense of how would this impact their careers, their livelihood, their continued employment and enjoyment and the like? What if they were independent? Now, given, she said, that the Constitution makes the environment, such a pivotal part of our society, by recognizing it within the Constitution, is it now timely that we create an independent body for our Department of Environment or some similar agency? Now, what is your view? 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. With that in mind, let me share with you a sentiment that was expressed by, one of our listeners just yesterday in relation to that. It came after our show, and as soon as I can, put that up for us, perhaps you may ask yourself, how does this play in, and why is it then that we're not doing it the way it's suggested, if you agree with it? This person, suggested that the DOE and its recommendations as marine, respect to the marine environment, are they not experts? And when it comes to the port, the experts at the DOE have shared that the EIA is, incomplete. So this person now has offered up the view that, hey, we could, in all honesty, allow the experts with respect to the environment to be able to become more autonomous, more independent, and as a consequence, when they give their views, as long as it's technically sound, there is no sort of maliciousness, no semblance of impropriety or otherwise. It's just an objective assessment. You want to do this, here are the pros and the cons, here's the impact and potentially the cost, the environmental cost. Perhaps there'll be a corresponding report to indicate the financial costs. But, as the person shares, can that be provided if the body isn't a truly independent body? Your view, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Likewise, you can WhatsApp if you want, 925-3261, and share your thoughts with us. We also had someone share some views in relation to alternative energy and solar. But let's go to our phones first. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you doing?
Very well, my friend. How are you today?
I'm good and getting better.
Oh, man. Now that's what I like to hear.
Two things. One, I generally concur with a previous caller who talked about the educational system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too familiar with the inspection system, so I don't want to make any comments on that. But just to say that I think that the school leaving age of 16 is definitely too young.
Mm-hmm.
And all students should have to do at least 2 years after they finish high school, whether it's preparing for university, college, or doing some vocational program.
Mm-hmm.
And the vacation is too much. You're looking at roughly about 3 months or more a year. That's a lot of time for a student to be out of school, and for parents then to have to find something to do with the kids during that time.
Right.
Having said that, back on a topic I was talking about last week, the topic of gambling. I got a text yesterday from one of the fuel companies saying that you buy fuel this and that and you could win $5,000. I just came from one of the local banks, and they got a promotion as well that you could win up to $5,000 if you are approved for a loan of over $20,000. So I will send at least those two pieces of information to the RICPS and see what they will do with it. And if they don't do any action, or they conclude that that is not gambling, then I suppose we'll have to go on that. But if they don't act, then I will talk to the company's commissioner or the police complete board.
Right. We did following your earlier call, we did ask sort of informally a couple of people about it, and it seemed conflicting. The information we received, one was, well, it appears that the community is starting to recognize that this thing is becoming prevalent, so the perception is that we're going to turn a blind eye to certain activities. Churches, banks, businesses, they're making promotions because they're just part of the marketing hook. The second thing is that someone shared, well, if you buy a raffle ticket and you just $1, $5, $10, whatever the sum is, and it goes into the box and mixed up and you pull it, and that's a game of chance, that technically is gambling and is illegal. But if you were, say, buying something, even if it's a token gesture, and in purchasing that, your name also gets entered into the draw, then that's not gambling. So to the former question I asked, well, let's take service clubs and PTAs and churches and sports clubs and the like. Let's say hey, for a $10 or $50 or $100 ticket, you can win X dollars, or you can win a trip for two to Little Cayman for the month, whatever it is. Why is that not seen as gambling? Because it's a game of chance. Oh, well, the causes are good, so therefore it's okay. I'm not sure why we adopt the view we do. As you shared, technically it seems that it's a game of chance, so therefore it's equate to gambling.
I mean, I agree that probably the vast majority of the service clubs and NGOs, NPOs are doing a good job, and most of the money probably do go to charities.
Right.
I'm not disputing that.
Not at all.
But no. But if we follow that line of argument, then government could also take the revenue from it and apply it to education, the environment, roads, housing. We talk about the number of homeless people we have, housing. Are we saying that the government can't manage the finances that they would get from gambling? I would say no. We trust government with millions of dollars a year. So
hundreds of millions, right? Yeah.
Right. A few more. So, yeah, I'll see whether they can get some ruling from the powers that be, because I will submit those and all future ones to the police.
Well, I commend you for, because as you shared it, we are going to ask someone, and basically what this particular person's view was that, yes, technically it's all gambling, but for whatever reason.
Well, that's what it is. Yeah. Technicality, and the law is the law.
Well, that's it. And I hear you.
Churches and service clubs are excluded, not supermarkets, telecommunication companies, car companies, banks. They are not excluded.
Yeah. Remember, Orwell reminds us, right?
If they aren't excluded, they have to be included.
Yeah. Now, if you're so inclined, the question is, and I'll ask this generally, you can choose to answer. How many of us out there would agree that we adopt a national lottery, or whatever that's called? We see it in different states within the U.S. and different countries around the world. I think, people have shared that there was one in Germany, many decades ago, that the information would come by mail and people would buy their lottery tickets. I don't recall the name at present, but what do you think? I mean, a national lottery for the country?
I would be supportive of it, and in the absence of any empirical data, I would venture to say that the vast majority of Caymanians would also be. It would be nice to know how many of us purchased a ticket for that $1.6 billion in that Florida lottery tonight.
All right. Okay, just maybe I can find this out, but let me ask you. I saw a glimpse on the news. Is there two lottery things, 1.6 billion, then there's another? Are both those in Florida, or are they different states in the U.S.? Are there two different ones, or is it the same thing? Am I misunderstanding?
No, one tonight for roughly 1.6 billion.
Yeah.
And I think tomorrow night it is another one for 600 million.
Okay, but these are both in Florida, to your knowledge.
I want to say yeah.
Okay, yeah. I guess I could go online and find that, but I was just curious because there's a conversation, and I thought, okay, there are two things. Hey, probably a lot of Caymanians and a lot of people are buying tickets. I can probably.
Why not?
Well, I'm pretty sure I can give you one, only because I haven't bought a ticket yet. But if I was out there, I probably would buy a ticket or two. Yeah. I got kind of confused. I never sure when you go in to buy them. Apparently, it's $1, but if you want something else, there's another $1 or something. So, what is it I'm buying? So I don't buy. Maybe I should start buying.
Yeah. I mean, put it this way: if you don't buy it,
you don't win, huh? No chance.
I can guarantee you that.
That much I know. It's like the joke with a fellow when he's praying to God for help. He wants to win the lottery, and then the voice comes back and says, "Buy a ticket." So that's how it goes.
Now, mind you, gambling has its downside.
Yeah.
I'm not saying nay.
Right.
All I'm saying is that if there's no gambling on the island except for churches and NGOs and sports clubs and what have you, then that is it. All the rest of us are excluded.
Right.
Irrespective of whether you're selling numbers or whether you are a fuel station or a bank or an insurance company or whatever, you're excluded. You can't do it. That is my argument.
Last question for you. There are those who say they would support a lottery system, whatever that's called, how that works and what have you. But their reticence is that would, have to lead to casinos and the like. Is that a logical, natural next step? If we have a lottery, then that opens the door and paves the way for casinos?
No, they are mutually exclusive. There's no need to conflate the two. You can have one without the other. No, I mean, you have a vehicle. Does that mean that you're going to break the speed limit? No.
So it's not like love and marriage then?
No.
All right.
So yeah. In my view, there's no need to conflate those two.
Okay.
Because they are definitely distinct.
All right. Well, keep us, please, if you're able to, keep us posted on your progress, and maybe it'll cause people to understand what is it that you're truly, saying, and maybe move us forward. Any final thoughts, sir?
I could say a few things on a couple of other subjects, but I'll leave some space and time for others.
Okay.
So,
well,
thanks for taking my call, and
thank you for sharing. You too, and always, call back if you want and share your thoughts. We can always benefit from your wisdom. Let's try another line, all right? Take care, sir. All right. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Dwayne, Dwayne.
Afternoon, sir. How are you?
This is number one from your Kingston. Listening to you.
Well, according to the honourable opposition leader, I think he demoted you to number 4 or number 15 or something.
Yeah, well, he's going 22.
That might be the number.
Better be difficult. Find a side to go around him.
Yes, sir. How are you today, sir?
I'll tell you tomorrow, I promise.
All right.
Listen, I heard you talking about this casino thing or having a lottery.
Yes, sir.
As I said before, and I'll say it again, don't worry with no casino. Have your lottery. That is something natural.
Okay.
But when you have these casinos open, as I've said 50,000 times before, people are watching you. When you go in, they're watching what you're doing. Look out when you come out. That's why you have plenty of different things happening up the states according to that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
But that's the way I feel about it. So if you want to have some happen national lottery, I would sign it 60,000 times to say okay. But don't worry with these casinos. It's going to bring trouble. That's my feeling, all right? I just want to get that out.
Yes,
and
sir.
I just want to make you know that I'm still listening to you, even though I don't call.
Well, I thank you for listening. I'm glad to know that, all is well in your end. Thank you, sir. Okay, take care. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, sir. How are you today?
Good. I'd like to speak about the cruise docking. The shores walking to the beach side.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I called in before.
Yes, sir.
Just why are they doing this? They got part of the beach of soul, right?
So we're told, yes.
Yeah, so why they do the talk there? And the wall. People that walk to the beach.
Yeah. If you're able to, sir, the radio that's near you, are you able to turn it off or maybe somehow move away from it, sir?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, we'll just give you a second. And as the caller is sharing with us in relation to the dock, as he's indicating, well, would the more, tourists have space to move about the beaches? When you're ready, sir, you can rejoin us.
Okay, all right now.
Okay. Thank you, sir. You were sharing?
Yes, sir. Okay. I am speaking about the people walking to the beach now. You can tell, Dwayne, you know.
Yes, sir.
These are walking to the beach now. Where are they giving these tourists? They can't spend their money. They spend their money.
Mm-hmm.
To see, these people are walking to the beach now. You see that. That's part of business soul. The wharf is there, and they're people that tourists not going to give up their land.
Right.
Where they doing this stuff? Our taxes are not dry right now.
Right.
I'm calling you for all the rest because I appreciate those struggling tax drivers. Look at these diving companies that are taking all the money, they all the money. We taxes they just sometimes. I say you guys go there. 4 shifts of 4 shifts doing. I need $33, and I had a bus. I had a bus $33. We try, someone's trying, nothing on. It's not good none. Can I tell this representatives, think about the tax reduction. All they want to put their pockets in $1,000, $50,000, $60,000. That's not good none.
Mm-hmm.
We put that in there to help us.
Yeah. As you shared, though, do you think then that, as you mentioned, the $33 that you made, do you think that is what the majority of the tax operators on a usual day that their take home is very, very low?
No, not at all.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there's a few.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they don't get a chance to get down there. They are so far away from the dock.
Mm.
I mean, it's not right. I know the government. I don't know what's wrong with this government. We have no government anyway. He's trying to help us. You doing the land. You know what I came on here too.
Yes, sir.
You're from West man. I know you're good on.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, try to help us, man. Try to talk with us, man.
Okay, sir.
He's doing the one.
All right. Take care, sir.
I know you're good. I hear you out again next in the prayer.
Thank you. We'll talk to you again some more. Unless there's something else you want to share. Okay. Hey, thanks very much. And perhaps, maybe hit a plea and play to the man's heart as he through his passion asks us to consider what we're doing. Let's pause though. Take a very short break. When we come back, there'll be more talk today, 949-8837 or 1-800-534-8255. And a caller comes in the queue next. Hey, you'll be first up. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of The Business Buzz is brought to you by Cayman Medical Supplies, providing quality pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, and consumer products to healthcare providers, retailers, and ultimately the patients at a reasonable rate in a friendly, caring, and timely manner. Cayman Medical Supplies is located at number 93 Smith Road, Windward Center. Telephone 949-6211.
Cayman Kind is the Cayman experience.
We work at the Cayman Craft Market.
It is a myth that we do not need the cruise ship industry.
It is a fact that when there are no ships in port, we do not earn a living. We depend on the cruise industry, and if it was to reduce by half, many others just like us would suffer immensely. We want to work and provide for our families.
We need the pier.
Support the piers. Support our tourism.
Mark your calendars. Radio Cayman's Breeze Fusion Walk Run is coming. Sister Islanders, save the date. Saturday, November 24th. Breeze FM and Radio Cayman will be returning to the BRAC for the 3rd annual BRAC Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run at the public beach on South Side. This year's 5K event will be raising funds for the So-and-So Club. Registration is only $15 for adults and $10 for kids. For more information, visit caymanactive.com.
The 2018 Fall Labor Force Survey is currently being conducted by the Economics and Statistics Office ESO. The LFS collects data on the employed and unemployed persons. Trained interviewers with ESO ID cards will visit the randomly selected households in all districts. The interviews are confidential in accordance with the statistics law. No individual data will be published or disclosed. Survey data are exempt from freedom of information. For more details, please call the ESO hotline at 516-3329.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. If you want to WhatsApp, you can send us your thoughts on our WhatsApp, 925-3261. You can type it up however you say it, text to speak, whatever you wish, and send it through to us. We'll listen to it, or you can record it as we have some voice notes. Let's go listen to those.
I'd like to say that in reference to the gambling, if we can gamble, let's gamble. If we can have casinos or legal gambling in Cayman, put it across the board, because it's not everybody that have the same luck at a slot machine. It's not how everybody have the same luck at buying a number. It's not how the same people not have the same luck at a poker table. So when you're going gambling, if you're gonna legalize gambling in Cayman, legalize it 100%. To each his own to choose whatever kind of gambling they want to do.
All right, let's listen to another voice note. And for those who want to share it on us, 925-3261 is our WhatsApp.
Wasting good taxpayers' money by running up and down arresting these people that selling numbers for these little petty fines. And the people is going right back and doing the same thing as they get released from the police. That don't make no sense. That's making a mockery of the government. So I don't know what the police is doing or what the government is intending to do by arresting people that selling numbers. And then they got these little baby fines on top of them.
Well, what are your thoughts? I mean, that caller shared, his views on our WhatsApp. Gambling, should we do as caller suggested? Hey, go right across the board, all in, in for a pinch, in for a pound. Or like the caller before who said, hey, wait a minute, let's only extend it to a national lottery. No casinos, because with that, well, we don't know what else will come. Many have shared their fears of organized crime, a greater sense of addiction, a lot of potential for other crimes. You're in there, the gambling, maybe you come out with your winnings. Some question whether casinos are used for money laundering and other concerns. So the national lottery, but only to that extent, not a casino. Now, some have quickly shared with us that there were proposals, or at least discussions, not long ago, involving men in our society, allegedly, even presentations to the government, politicians, or the like, from business people locally and internationally, about developing hotels with casinos. Now, what's your thought? Is that a brand of a tourism product that we should explore, or should we just look at what maybe sparked the whole conversation? Decide what is it that we want with respect to our gambling legislation, and consider that there's no form of gambling, not from the school, nor the church, nor the sports organization, nor the service club, or any entity, whether it's a corporate entity or even a government agency. No game of chance whatsoever. You can't buy a raffle ticket. You can't do any of these things, because that equates to gambling. Or should we properly develop it, make the necessary amendments that would include those things? Then, as those things are unfolding, we put in place a national lottery, with the funds being used, as is the case in many countries, for education and for healthcare, and for some of the other sort of social goods that potentially prove costly for a government. Now, would you support it? Are you one of those people who, when you travel, perhaps only when you travel, you buy, a lottery ticket in that country, in that state, in that place? Or do you have access and ability through friends and family when they're traveling or living in those places to buy tickets? Like the caller earlier who asked, how many of us have, a ticket or two for the, lottery drawings, and he said, tonight and tomorrow, collectively, probably excess of, $2.5 billion between the two of them. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Now, your view. Is gambling? Is it acceptable if it's done in this vein but not in that one? Or, like the voice note recorded by the caller who said, let's be all in. Let's ensure that it's gambling across the board, and let's develop casinos and have people, whether it's at the poker table, the slot machines, or whatever the format it is. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. It is open line. We take your calls and have you share your thoughts with us. So get ready to go to our phones and join our callers. We invite you to share equally. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Let's go to our phones. Okay, good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today. Yeah, hello. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. Welcome back, sir.
Can I, yes, thank you. Can I speak about the gambling?
Yes, sir.
Doing the stand and the promise there, you're a good man. We are there no gambling here. Yes, we are a Christian nation. That we build on this. That we stand firm doing it. There's no gambling. No gambling. That we stand firm.
Right. What do you think of whether it's the school or the service club or the sports, sporting organization that have these raffles? Do you think that they should be allowed, or do you think that they are considered gambling?
Yes. Yeah, considered gambling, yes.
Yes, sir. People seem to support them because maybe the sports club is raising money for a new field or a trip or something. Maybe the school is using it to fund a particular program or the like. Do you think that the purpose that money is used for is why people support it, even though they may not necessarily want to engage in gambling otherwise?
Yeah, I would say yes. Yes. They're using it for special needs,
Yes, sir.
Like Kenneth called a while ago, say his son and money is for he uses for housing, different things, housing, different issues, Yes, he can. He stands firm.
Well, like his point then, what if the government sort of established, set up a national lottery, and the government said, this money from this lottery, we're going to use it to fund, pay for education and pay for the hospital. We're not going to use it for other things. We're going to be very specific, the things that we use it for. How do you think that would work?
Yes, it could work. But we got to be firm and stand firm. The government got to stand on their feet. They sure the money go no to this say. Stand on their feet. The government, like I said, we need a government that is strong. S-T-R-O-N-G, strong.
Yes,
okay. Yes. Love you, I know Tario and Alan.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you taking time to listen, man. I hope your day is going good.
I'll be calling all the time.
Anytime.
They're strong. We got no gambling. No gambling. Like this guy from Rack called it no gambling. No, look, Tina, suppose there's a service out somewhere, two or three guys lose on a cruise ship. They get in the cruise ship or they're in the dock. They get vexed now and lose and lost. They want to know get there going in there. Want to there. They never stand for wherever.
It can be destructive. Yeah. All right, so well, let's see what other people share.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Take care, sir. All right. Hey, thanks very much. And to that caller, his last point, what if someone is, as he referenced, maybe coming off the cruise ship, maybe coming to the casino, and at that point, it's a bit distraught. The person now realizes, trying to gamble back the winnings, and all of a sudden, is distraught because we lost it all, house and home and everything else. Would that person feel, so hopeless that the person might engage in some, really, really, unforgivable acts? What's your thought? This person writes, is the churches sells tickets. So what about that? The service clubs, the police, have auctions. That's also is gambling. It's the people's money, and the biggest gamblers are the politicians. Now, what is your thought? 949-837, 1-800-534-8255. This person writes, we take a gamble every day, from electing our government to getting in our cars. Now, those points aside, do you think there are some issues with respect to gambling, like the potential, addictions? Let's pause and take a short break. When we come back, more talk today.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of The Business Buzz is brought to you by Cayman Medical Supplies, providing quality pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, and consumer products to healthcare providers, retailers, and ultimately the patients at a reasonable rate in a friendly, caring, and timely manner. Cayman Medical Supplies is located at number 93 Smith Road, Windward Center. Telephone 949-6211.
Mark your calendars. Radio Cayman's Breeze Fusion Walk Run is coming. Sister Islanders, save the date. Saturday, November 24th. Breeze FM and Radio Cayman will be returning to the BRAC for the 3rd annual BRAC Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run at the public beach on South Side. This year's 5K event will be raising funds for the So-and-So Club. Registration is only $15 for adults and $10 for kids. For more information, visit CaymanActive.com.
Caymankind is the Cayman experience.
We work at the Cayman Craft Market.
It is a myth that we do not need the cruise ship industry.
It is a fact that when there are no ships in port, we do not earn a living. We depend on the cruise industry, and if it was to reduce by half, many others just like us would suffer immensely. We want to work and provide for our families.
We need the pier.
Support the piers. Support our tourism.
The 2018 Fall Labor Force Survey is currently being conducted by the Economics and Statistics Office ESO. The LFS collects data on the employed and unemployed persons. Trained interviewers with ESO ID cards will visit the randomly selected households in all districts. The interviews are confidential in accordance with the statistics law. No individual data will be published or disclosed. Survey data are exempt from freedom of information. For more details, please call the ESO hotline at 516-3329.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-837, 1-800-534-8255. Well, I'm reminded sometimes, technology, all jokes aside, I love it. I love how we leverage it to make our lives better, but I'm concerned of how we love it to, enslave us. 949-837, 1-800-534-8255. if you're listening, and watching on YouTube, boy, my apologies. You got to see me, not something better. Let's go to our phones. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Hello. Good afternoon, Sterling.
Hey, how are you doing, man?
I'm pretty good, man. I just got in the truck a little while back. I was just listening about the gambling and whatnot.
All right.
Yeah. It was a bit refreshing to hear something other than the port.
I don't know why some people like to hit up with a port.
Well, what I mean is that it's been a hot button.
I hear you, man. That's teasing.
There's a lot of different views and emotions and opinions and all sorts of other stuff, but the facts are facts, and obviously I've been forced to listen to all of the radio ads, which is very comical too, suggesting that cruise ship passengers and cruise industry is going to disappear if we don't build piers. Cruise ships been calling to our port for over 4 to 5 years, and we haven't built a pier yet, and the numbers have steadily been growing. So I think that's a bit of a miss. But two quick things. One, when it comes to gambling, this is my opinion, my 2 cents, for whatever it's worth. I think that in the concept of casinos, I personally would rather see if we did casinos, if we did take that road, that we limit casinos to the hotels, the major chains, and that only their guests can gamble in the casinos. And the reason why I say that is that if we're gonna introduce casinos because we want to generate more revenue, then obviously we don't want to put casinos in place to take revenue from our own local people. That'd be just like recycling it, right? It wouldn't be introducing new revenue. It'd be just taking money from one sector and putting it in the next. Certainly, and definitely going to do a national lottery, then that's different, because it's easier for a person to lose their whole salary and their whole check. Not saying that it don't take place now with number buying, but it's a lot harder because with the numbers, you see where people allocate a small amount of money and they go buy numbers or whatever the case is. But the reality is that when you introduce a casino and a person can just walk in at any given time, and most casinos are open 24 hours. Obviously, I don't know what the rules and regulations would be if we ever took that road. But again, if the idea of doing casinos is to generate more revenue, then certainly we want to generate more inward-bound revenue as opposed to money that is already here from the local people who work and, go take their chance at the casino and end up losing more money, create more social issues. Mm-hmm. But again, that's a whole topic we can talk about different, because I'm sure there's a lot of merit on both sides. But I would just like for whenever you have any of the government members inside the studio, because they don't like to take questions from people in the general public because they feel like you have an agenda. But I'll let you pose the question. Here's what I would like for them to answer. And I think it's important because I don't think anyone in Cayman would disagree that our schools and education should be priority. Our environment and our health should be in priority. We have the landfill, which is an ongoing issue that we haven't been able to deal with. Yes, there's been a lot of effort towards it. Also, we've seen where there was an elaborate attempt to try to build schools and whatnot, and that again failed. So my question would be to any member of cabinet, if they had the unlimited resources or had access to enough resources to fix either 1, the dump, 2, the schools, or 3, build a port, which one would they choose? Because for me, it would be very simple, right? Our island is only as good as the people we put in it, and our island is only sustainable as when it comes to the environment. So if we create an unsustainable environment, then it creates issues for our people. So I think that at the end of the day, we understand that yes, we have a tourism sector that is thriving right now based on the numbers. We all-time highs across the board. When you look at growth on, say, over tourism versus cruise tourism, it's an alarming figure. It's not growing as fast as the cruise tourism, yet it represents 80% of the revenue generated from our overall tourism product. Because even though we have 80% of the tourists that come here by cruise, they only contribute to 20% of the overall money that's being spent on shore. $800 and big odd $1 million is generated from tourism on a whole, but only $150 million of that come from cruise tourism. The other 600 and change comes from stayover. And when you look at the growth of stayover over the past couple of years compared to the growth of cruise tourism, the numbers are growing, but not at the rate that they should be growing if we had put more emphasis on stayover as opposed to cruise tourism. Cruise tourism is here to stay for as long as we have a beautiful environment for them to visit, and individuals who give them that warm welcome and give them that Cayman kind sort of treatment. So for anybody to get on the radio willfully and say that without cruise, if we don't build piers, we won't have cruise tourism, it's very misleading, and it's not honest to the other people who don't work in that sector, who might not know as much as other people who do work in that sector. It's not fair for them to make those comments because it's not true. Every year since we introduced cruise tourism to our island, we've had a steady increase of cruise tourism. I do understand when they say if we don't build a cruise pier that oasis-size and mega-size ships won't call to our port. That is what has been said by Royal Caribbean and Carnival Cruise Line. But they also said in the same breath, that our cruise tourism is not at jeopardy if we don't build piers. 60% of their global revenue comes from the Caribbean. And if the Caribbean nations were really to wise up and form a union and flip the script on the cruise lines, because the cruise line need the Caribbean nations. We don't call to their port; they call to our port. They come to our jurisdiction because that's where the lion's share of their wealth come from. So, when we listen to all the information put out there, regardless of who's saying it, let's not kill the messenger here. Let's just look at the facts and what the facts have, so that we can make an informed opinion based on all of the facts. The facts are cruise tourism is here to stay. It's not going to ever go anywhere. Again, like I said, once we maintain the pristine environment that we have over the past, 45 to 50 years, once we maintain a certain integrity of who we are morally, and once we continue to provide a good service, everybody who is in the industry now, who's making money, will always make money from the industry. We just can't transform our overall tourism product to mass cruise tourism, because it will damage the sector of our tourism that provides the most revenue. And when you hear them say it's thousands of jobs, it's across the board. And how many of those people are actually Caymanians for those thousands of jobs that they're referring to? And on the same token, it's not only in the cruise tourism area where those thousands of jobs are being are where they exist. They're across the board in the hotels, the restaurants, and all the other places. So I would rather for any minister to answer a very important question: where would you prioritize our spending ability? If it would be for a cruise pier that you would want to cater for a mega-sized ship that only two are in existence in the Caribbean, and when you look at their build out over the next 10, 15 years, they're not gonna phase out the smaller ships. In fact, they have over 20 of those on order right now to be built, brand new ships which have 40 to 50 year life. The existing ships that are in our corridor right now has 35 years left to life. These things are all information they can get right off of the same cruise lines that they say won't be coming here. It's right on their website. They should get themselves properly informed. And I think it's a crying shame that our government has taken out of our coffers to run all of these misleading ads against the very same people that is trying to represent a section of the Constitution in which they gave us the right to. So I think as Caymanians, we need to take a good look at what our product is, understand what the value of it is, and make sure that we don't deplete it simply because we want to increase numbers. We don't need to become like the other jurisdictions in the Caribbean who has cruise berthing. I dare anyone who is supporting the pairs, who have the Cayman environment at heart, genuinely, to go down to these places and tell me how the environment is around those cruise pairs. And I know that they can't come back and say that it is pristine and it's beautiful, because it's not. You can go right and look at it right now. There are too many sitting examples of failed harbors and ports where they destroyed the environment around it. But those countries don't care about that because they're third world countries. And why is it we always have to compare Cayman to everywhere else in the world? We are the Cayman Islands. There will never be any other three islands geographically located perfectly in the Western Caribbean where we are. There will never be ever again. We are the Cayman Islands. We don't need to be like any of the other countries. We don't need to be like any of them. We should just be who we are and make sure that we provide the best quality service for any of the people who come to our shores, and make sure that we understand the balance between both sectors of our tourism product, and enhance that and ensure that maintains its integrity for as long as we can, for as long as we exist on this island. So I'll leave it there, started.
Quickly, take a short break. When we come back, more talk today.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. Headline. These are the biggest stories right now.
An investigation is underway after an arson at a Shamrock Road bar. Police say officers got the call around 1 a.m. Someone had set fire to items at the rear of the building and poured gasoline in the area. The fire was extinguished by persons at the scene. Anyone with any information, you're being asked to contact the Georgetown CID at 949-4222. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines in news elsewhere. The killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi was planned days in advance. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has told MPs from his ruling party. He said Turkey had strong evidence Khashoggi was killed in a premeditated and savage murder at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul on October 2nd. He also called for the suspects to be tried in Istanbul. A suspect package found in a post box at the home of billionaire businessman George Soros contained an explosive device. New York police have confirmed the item was discovered on Monday by an employee of Mr. Soros, who took it to a nearby wooded area where it was later destroyed by bomb squad officers. The incident is being investigated by the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force. And stock markets have tumbled around the world, with analysts blaming concerns over Italy's finances, ongoing trade fairs and Saudi tensions for the falls. London's Financial Times Stock Exchange 100, which is already on track for its worst monthly performance in a decade, closed at 1.2% lower. European stocks also fell, with France's CAC and Germany's DAX closing 1.7% lower and 2.2% lower respectively, falling for the fifth day in a row. U.S. stocks also fell sharply, with all three major indexes down over 2%. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Okay, settle down. There's someone I want to thank. This guy knows how to get the most out of every fill-up. This guy had the common sense to drive into Esso so I could get back on the road. $5,000 richer. Thanks to me. Thank you so much, me. Thank you. Yes.
Spend $25 at any Esso service station and get a chance to win in weekly draws for $5,000 cash. Every week for 5 weeks, we'll be choosing a winner. You can also get a chance to win free fuel and prizes at our weekly spin and win events. That's $30,000 in cash and prizes to be won. Drive into an Esso station today. You'll thank yourself. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Cruise tourism is a vital part of Cayman's economy. It is the government's responsibility to create an environment where our people can have an opportunity to grow and prosper today, tomorrow, and into the future. It is a myth that Cayman does not need cruise tourism. It is a fact that cruise passengers spend $200 million per year buying services from small businesses, tour operators, attractions, restaurants, and retail shops. Those funds stay right here, supporting our economy and communities. Support the pairs. Support our tourism.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. It is open line. Let's go to our phones. Welcome, you're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
Good, and you?
Oh, very thankful.
Great. Sterling, what Mario just said on the radio, I don't think that if one person here on this island can say what he has just said any plainer than he has said it, and trying to educate us, the people of this island that is so uneducated, and from school up to trying to find out how these cruise buses will affect us here in the Cayman Islands to a certain extent, if they decide to put it downtown Georgetown. In regards to the odds, it is a shame to see how we can mislead our own people, making them become what you call, what's the word? Oh, God, I can't find a word right now. But to see that government would waste the money to bring these ads on the radio, and we got children in school need breakfast and lunch, and feeding us such wrong information to a degree, when the white man trying to tell us what the story is about these mega ships and the other ships. And like Mario said, we got a long way to go before these ships that's running now go to dry dock and become whatever they want to become. I just want to say that, this is what I'm trying to find is cowards. We are too cowards, and we sit down and settle for less.
But if I can ask you, in relation to the ads, because I had a couple of people, one in particular was just trying to go with you, and another one was trying to sort of be a little bit facetious and antagonistic, but the point was the same, and nonetheless that, here we have these ads being played by government in a way to convince people, almost, as one person said, is this just another attempt to indoctrinate people? Now, do you think it's okay that the government is trying to convince the public of its position, so it's going on a campaign to, tell people, hey, this is why we're doing this?
Sterling, the government, period, no, at the meeting they could not answer questions that were thrown at them. So, I go to the white man, no disrespect. The white man played to sit down and say what you had to say in regards to ships coming here. This is one of the top destinations. To see the government would go and bring in our people, our own local people, and they would set up there and engage in it to give us false information and telling these civil servants not to get involved with the positiveness, I would say, of this referendum. Stick with them, because then this is how it's going to be done. But Sterling, I just want to say that I just pray and I just hope that this referendum goes through. We do need a pair, but we need to enhance what we got. And like Mario said, if they had a choice to make, would it be the port, the dump, the school? They already got they'll be doing tendering. And then a local had the nerve to bring a visitor onto the radio this morning in regards of the tendering and so forth. Now, it's that bad thing to say he was here before. If he came here before and he came in the first time he put in front of the tender and was not happy, deficit? Hell no. I want to hit on the charity. I heard you talking about charitable and fundraising and so forth earlier.
Right.
Yes.
Sterling,
you know, Cayman is the norm for that now because then everybody's doing it left, right, center. Who's gaining and who's losing, we don't know. I want to hit the NBCO. They just had a big marathon race a couple nights ago, right? And when you see the commercial they're running to the children, they're eating from a plastic fork, drinking from a plastic cup, eating from a paper plate and a plastic plate. Darling, how can you come on here every year looking $120,000, $160,000 to maintain this program they got going on here with 3, 4, 5 different programs all under one umbrella? And feeding the children out of paper plates and forks in plastic cups. They should have their regular plates washed and dried and put up for next day, Sterling. Not because of the money's coming easy. We must just continue to throw it away because then, we can go next year and add another 10,000 on and hope we can get what we're looking for. Sterling, let me tell you something. This whole island, like I said, is under attack of charitable here and there from the churches right down to gambling on this island. And it seems like it's just okay. But then again, they don't want to bring gambling and make it legal in the Cayman Island. But the churches are gambling. The man on the road is gambling. And then we got cars auction here and so forth. And you just name it. It's on and on and on, Sterling. It's not going nowhere. Everybody comes out here. We're doing something charitable because then we're raising money for so-and-so. Sterling, I've been at the high school for 10 years now. And I have never had one of my students tell me that they got a free lunch from all this thing that will feed a kid program. When I asked them, I said, you all get something from the Feed a Kid program. Not me, sir. You don't do something. We don't buy the doing. You know what I mean? So who the feed, I don't know. But I tell you one thing. There's a saying, what goes around comes around. And karma, when that snaps you, oh my goodness, it's terrible. But Sterling, I just want to say that, we just got to wake up and stop being so covered and sitting under the almond tree and the pansiana tree and talking about this one, that one, what they got or what they don't have and wonder how to get it. We can get it too. Get out here and work. Fight for your country. Stop sitting down and saying how this one get what they got. Come out and work and fight for your country. And this iguana is something that they got going on. That's all a pretty show. Imagine you got to meet a quarter to go and pick up the iguana. Oh, Sterling, please. But that's it, man. I'll leave you at that, Sterling. You have a great one. Thanks for listening to my big mouth.
Thank you for sharing, and I think, the idea that you're willing to do so graciously, hopefully, and encourage other people, whether they agree with you, whether they're sparked and motivated to share another, concept. 8949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. It's open line. We invite you to call and share your thoughts with us, be a part of our discussion. Now, as the callers have shared, are we, looking at a place in our history where we seem to be going more and more to the public to do the things that perhaps we should be doing for ourselves or in concert with the government? Now, is it a case that some have shared, well, wait a minute, we've been, expecting the government to do so much of it that we lost, our way and our ability to do for ourselves? As that caller was sharing, someone quickly sent a message through saying that it seems that in Cayman, we're getting to a point where we become accustomed to, extending our hands and expecting some sort of, gift. And the question is, do we still know the difference between a gift and graft? Do we know, as this person has shared with us, that in our country, that pride in ourselves, to doing for ourselves, doing, collectively for ourselves, are we losing that? Hey, what's your view? 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. I say that in light of a comment someone shared earlier in relation to homelessness. I can't read only other respect for what a person has shared, but the comments in relation to homelessness, the person is concerned that it's becoming an issue that we're only scratching the surface. We're not fully appreciative of how many people would technically be homeless in this country. They've lost their homes, they've been kicked out of the places they were renting, and other graces of family and friends. Some families, this person alleges, are actually staying, with friends and family, but they don't have a place of their own. There's information that was shared with us, gave a scenario where a person, was paying rent, but because of job loss and the like, had to vacate the rental property. That person didn't have the good sort of, as they put it, the fortune of other friends and family and live on that charity, where would they be? And as a result, are we looking at that from that scenario as to how difficult it's becoming? Let's go to our phones. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
I overheard a lady expressing that she's not sure that Feed Our Future feeds the children.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know for a fact that 3 children that I foster gets Feed Our Future breakfast, snack, and lunch for free. And they've gotten that all this term.
Right.
So I can verify that they are, in fact, doing what they're saying they're doing.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to listen and call in right away, because sometimes, as the caller shared, the students that she referred to, didn't tell her, but maybe there's a process. Maybe those children, for whatever reason, don't qualify, don't need, don't want, maybe didn't want to say. So.
Well, these particular children qualified due to the mom being homeless and not having anywhere for them, and I took them in.
Good for you.
And the mom is currently not working, and that is what qualified those children.
Yeah, I believe. I mean, hopefully, people don't accuse me of being, unfairly, complimentary. But I believe, from what I've seen, witnessed, and spoken, Feed Our Future has stepped in very, very nicely in filling a significant gap that exists in our community. Not speaking to any particular charity, if you would be inclined, there seems to be a growing need in our community for housing, for people to be assisted with food and different things. Is that your perception, that that's becoming a bigger and bigger issue?
Yes, I do think that is so.
Yeah.
Problem, for example, I myself have 5 children of my own that I currently homeschool,
mm-hmm.
and then when I take in these other 4, then that can put a lot on me.
Well, blessed is the man whose quiver is full. So I guess it applies to a woman as well. So commend you for that.
Oh, thanks. But if the mom had gotten the assistance she required, then my assistance would not be needed, right?
Right. Can I ask? I don't want to speak to any particular situation, right? But 2 things. This issue with assistance for housing and food and the like, as we agree, it's becoming an issue. It's increasing. Why do you think that is?
Well, the problem is it's a lot of joblessness right now. Then there is times when the parents do work, and because it's a single mom, for example, you can expect a single mom to feed 6 children, pay rent, pay light, pay water, have lunch money, and to basically meet all their needs. And the dads don't do anything.
Yeah.
A lot of the dads don't. I won't say all.
Yeah.
And then when you go through the courts, they're not required to pay. Me, myself, I've been fighting with my ex-husband through the courts for maintenance for the last almost 15 years. And he does what he feels like. They don't put them in jail. They have no consequences.
Yeah, that's another issue that seems to not be getting the attention, that whole idea of how we're resolving those issues within our families, of inattentive or seemingly, non-supportive partners, huh?
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is there's no loyalty, no commitment. Marriages don't last anymore. Partnerships don't last anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have families that are being torn apart and split apart, then the fathers move on and live their lives, and the moms are then left with the responsibility and, well, basically everything.
But when we look at that aspect of our community, the the challenge that some people who said, I lost my job or I can't find a job, and yet there seems to be employment. The government statistics indicate, the employment numbers are positive. What is it that is preventing, denying, serving as some sort of impediment to our people finding meaningful employment?
Well, my personal opinion is the younger, even myself, for example, when I went out job hunting, employers don't want to hire mothers with children because they feel that we're going to be a burden when the children are sick or when a school calls, things like that, and they don't want to hire a single mom, a lot of them. And then those that do hire us, then they only want to pay you this very low paycheck that really at the end of the day, it can't do anything. Because what is $1,500 really going to do for a mom of 5 or 6 children?
I understand what you're sharing in relation to the cost, but are we providing the opportunities for people to take up, the higher paying jobs, or is it that at some of the age, even the people who have the experience, the expertise, the qualifications, the skills, that when they apply, they're being, I used the phrase that was used with me just this morning, they're being lowballed. You go in for a job, argument say, that is, genuinely a $60,000 a year job, you have the skill set, but you're being offered, half that, just to discourage you. That has been alleged a number of times. Is that happening, you think?
I think so. Because, I've personally worked on a job, and I've done the same job as a foreigner. The foreigner comes in, he gets 6 months paid rent, a vehicle, he gets it all, and I'm paid $2,000 a month for the same job, and then I turn around and do his job as well. So it's like, yeah.
Well, it is something that I heard from a number of people, but for whatever reason, it isn't either being reported to the right people, or if it is, it isn't being acted upon. Now, I've gathered from what you shared, you're not talking about paying somebody a certain amount of money if they don't have the skills or the experience or the expertise to do the job. We're saying equal pay for equal work.
Exactly. But, even with the experience, even if you have the college papers behind you, a lot of our younger folks are going off to college, getting a degree, having the qualifications, well, basically in ink, and then when they come back, there's no job for them because we have, I'm not against foreigners, but it's basically taken, it's filled, and they end up working at Foster's and paying that college loan, and that's happening all over the place.
Is it, we've heard many instances, is it being exaggerated, or is it as prevalent as we hear that there are many Caymanians with college education, some with masters or postgrad and the like, but they can't get a job?
I find it to be true because I know quite a few. And the few that I know, there's one that works at Foster's, there's one that works at Flow. She's not doing what she went to college for, but she has a job, but she's not making the income that she should have been making, and she still has to pay her student loan.
Well, that is unfortunately something that we've heard, and people can take it on board if they like, but if a country isn't providing for its people, if it's affording them an education but there's no corresponding employment opportunity, and presumably those jobs exist, are we doing it the very best way for our people? A question to be asked, no?
My personal opinion is that few people do get the opportunity to go into jobs and train and basically become better and get better pay, but they're far and few, and it usually goes according to, as the old people say, it's who you know, not what you know. So it depends on the luck of the draw, basically.
Something that I heard a couple of times recently that still bothering me, a somewhat unfamiliar group of students, so I don't work with these students so often, and I just had a sort of almost a passing conversation, and one said something, and I asked, I'll repeat it just to explain it, because I thought I had misunderstood. And the gist of it was that a teacher, another teacher, was trying to encourage, the student to continue, pressing away at the subject because, it seems a little difficult. and the student relayed another teacher, don't know which teacher did know a school in a sense, had on more than one occasion commented that what's the point in moving beyond high school and going off to university and taking on the student loan and getting this huge debt, because really you're not going to make any difference in relation to your earning potential and the like, openly discouraging the child from pursuing tertiary education. With that, the teacher shared that conversation was pursued with the other students in the group and with other students, and have come away with the perception that this isn't the only group of students that have been sort of hearing that from presumably the same teacher or another teacher, and that's kind of disconcerting.
Well, that is true. I've had my second son. He was going to Clifton at one point, and one teacher actually looked at him and said, "Oh, you don't need to study. There's no future in Cayman for you young folks anyways." And at that point, the following semester, I took my son out, and he's been homeschooling ever since.
Yeah. But it's not even so much that, there's that despair and hopelessness. It is when the educators and other adults openly discourage the child from, pursuing further education. Not just that there may be no job prospects here, but that there's no benefit to that education. And I thought, there's no way that, students are hearing that, and not in this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, and that... It bothers me. It goes counter to everything that I've been told and encouraged from every quarter of my life, from every walk, every person I've engaged in. From time I could, walk to probably, just a few hours ago. People always encourage you, keep studying, be a lifelong learner. But that seems to be...
That's what I was taught as well. And that's why I teach my children. No matter how old you get, you can always learn something.
Right.
And
well...
you don't have to get $1 million, but you can be someone.
Yeah. If I may, just read what this WhatsApp person, random listener shared in relation to Feed the Future. So it is, and God bless you, the woman is on for taking in the family. It reads that Feed the Future is a blessing. It's just, I took in one little angel that was sleeping on the floor, not getting any lunch money, and Feed the Future stepped right in, and could be able to get breakfast, lunch for both her and her sister. So another person sort of complimenting you for what you're doing, but also agreeing with your view of it. So thanks very much, huh?
No problem. You have a good day.
Good. If you're inclined, I wouldn't mind talking more about homeschool with you at some point. I can give you a number if you want to call me, if it's okay, and you can chat about it. It's my desk line, 244-2175. Is that my desk number? Yeah, 244-2175. If you don't feel it too forward of me to ask of you about it.
Okay, so 244-2175. Okay, got you.
All right. Thank you so much for that.
Right,
and for those of you listening, no, he's not trying to get the woman's number. Just trying to hear about, education. Thank you very much, Mom, for sharing. Thank you for having a heart to, take in other, children. And God bless you, man. 5 children.
Not a problem.
I commend you for it. I love big families, so that's good stuff. Thank you, Mom. And to our listeners, hey, today is another day. Thanks so much for being a part of it. And trust that tomorrow you'll come back and be continue part of our program here at Radio Cayman. Join Mr. Art Conn in the morning for the record. Come back for Talk Today right after the midday news and midday meditation. And as usual, it is our prayer. Until then, you'll be blessed.